Smash. My name's Tian, and I'm joined here with my co-hosts Zoso,
Hey, what's up?
Theo, or Squibble,
Hello.
and Howard, who's Mr. Tuesday and represented by a paper bag.
Damn right I am. Hello, everyone.
How are you guys
I
doing?
think it's actually a garbage bag.
Yeah.
It's to hide my shame.
Yeah,
There's a
so
lot of
we're joined tonight with two extremely special guests from New England. We have Infinite Numbers, or Jason Gauthier. I think he's in this call as Fraud Wobbler Numbers.
It's goth.
Yeah, you got it.
How are you doing, Jason?
I'm sorry, what?
How are you doing, Jason?
I'm good, how are you?
Hey. And we're also here with Jesse Renier from New Hampshire.
I literally just Regner.
Regner, sorry. Yeah. And he goes by GWM at the moment.
Hey, what's up?
How are you doing, Jesse?
Good.
Yeah, I'm
Man.
glad you guys all could make it. So this is the week following Pound. Some of us were there. I think Theo, Zoso, and I were there. And of course, Jason was at Pound, and he honestly, that was some of the most amazing Smash New England has ever seen. Do you want to just get right into it and start talking about your Pound experience?
I mean, yeah, I guess we can. If you want to.
Sure, why not?
I don't know, it was really interesting, being around, top players for the first time, because I thought a lot of them would be a lot, I don't know. I expected them to be less, actual people than they were, you know?
Yeah, what the
A
heck?
lot of them seemed pretty real, which I didn't actually expect from just watching a bunch of play. And also playing all that kind of high-level melee. It was really, weird.
Yeah, you seem to be enjoying yourself a lot. At some point during the tournament, I found out about some of your wins, and you were just like, I'm just trying to play to have fun now. I've already accomplished so much that I've wanted to do. I'm just trying my best now. I was really happy for you.
Yeah, I think a lot of that was just my mindset. That whole tournament was a lot different than when I go into most tournaments. Usually I would go to tournaments in New England, and I was just trying to win. That was basically the end goal. But at Pound, I was kind of just trying to learn a lot and just do as good as I can and have a good showing. And I think that actually helped me play a lot better because I didn't get nervous at all.
So when you got on the plane on Friday, your first thought wasn't, damn, I'm just going to win and just beat everyone. And if I don't get first. So you weren't man, I'm going to get top 16 at this tournament no matter what. That wasn't your expectation, right?
No, not at all. I was hopefully I can get top 64 at best and just learn some shit and maybe get one upset or so.
Yeah, you had a
Well,
pretty good ride down too, right? With, I think, a bunch of New Hampshire players, or did you fly?
We rode down. It was Shuffle, ASL, Calvar, myself, and Golden.
Nice. Yeah, so I've described your tournament run at Pound as something like a complete Cinderella story, because for people who out of region, I feel it was getting to the point where people had started hearing a decent amount about you, in Tri-State and beyond. But for a lot of people beyond the East Coast, you were still somewhat of an unknown quantity. And I think going into, so let's talk about maybe your first big quote unquote upset of the tournament, which was your win over DG Nintendo. I think New England was on the whole, and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel a lot of people thought that you could have taken that match, maybe not easily, but that was definitely a possibility that was on the table.
I wasn't surprised at all when he beat DJ, to be honest.
Yeah, neither was I.
Not me either.
But I think a
I
lot
was
of people
pretty
from,
surprised. I don't know about all you guys. I didn't see that coming, but I
Yeah,
thought it was
so-
crazy.
You have
Don't
no
talk
faith
about
in the
that
boy that
Well, I
bought
just
you in
said
bracket?
I just thought DJ was a lot better, but then numbers beat him, and I was like,
Oh
whoa.
my god.
Weren't you the person on record on this cast, Theo, that said, yeah, about once a month or once every couple months, I think Mafia and I play the pinnacle of Peach Fox, and then
Yeah.
realized, yeah.
Yeah, well, just because I have some opinions that might be too hard for others to understand doesn't mean all of mine are crazy.
Fair enough.
So I think on the whole, New England wasn't too surprised by that result. We thought it was definitely possible. Zoso thought it was not unreasonable at all. But I think a lot of Tri-State players were definitely shocked by that. I know DG struggled a little bit against Ice Climbers, especially against Discid Boogie.
More than a little bit, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Disproportionately much, I think, against Diz. But, considering that we had thought that Jason would go into it with a very solid game plan, we had some faith that was going to happen. So, do you want to talk about like your matches against DJ and how the bracket progressed from there?
I think the big thing with DJ was I was talking to Diz a lot on the ride there about DJ because my main goal was to beat him and make it to a round 2 pools winners. And Diz actually linked me a set from literally the day before where he 3
Wow.
DJ like convincingly. So I took a lot of notes there and noticed that DJ, like the way he plays is so bad against Ice Climbers. Like he just stands still so much and it's like actually horrible.
Shots.
I
Yeah,
think that's
I
just a testament to how he plays a lot of matchups though. Like,
Yeah.
he
As he
always
gets
seems
rushed.
to like slow it down, and it just doesn't work against Ice Climbers.
Yeah, it feels like Ices really have trouble with more aggressive foxes that just are always in your face at all times. It feels like that's really the way that the matchup's been developing. And DJ is definitely not that sort of player.
No, not at all. Like I even struck to Yoshi's against him, which is something I've never done against any other fox because I didn't want him to time me out on Dreamland.
That makes sense. Yeah.
He's
Did he
prone
do that to
that.
Diz?
He almost did that to Crush at +2, I believe. He literally said I had a 6.5 minute long fox ditto with DJ on Yoshi's, not even on Dreamland.
That happened at Pound too. I don't think there was any timeouts, but their set took like half hour. It was the best of 3. It was so dumb.
So yeah, we all thought that DJ's style was going to be like more defensive, more passive, and very like footsies and poke heavy, and very bait heavy. So going into that, like we had sort of discussed how, I don't know if you remember, I think we were talking about this at SSS, how I had thought that Icy's poke in the matchup is getting a grab, and their poke costs you a stock if it works out. So if you play like a really grindy, like incremental kind of game, it can actually like strongly disfavor you if you want to just like aim for the small edges. Do you agree with that kind of an assessment?
Yeah, I do agree with that a lot because I do remember talking about this, and like I said, if you waste all that time and then do get grabbed, you just wasted so much time for literally nothing. And then you have to either switch up your style mid-match, or you have to keep going at it, and you're fighting a losing battle either way.
Yeah, you can spend like half a minute just to do like 30% or something, and it'll feel like a small victory. But the moment you get grabbed, that 30% doesn't even really matter. You're down a stock, and now you have to think about how to make up the difference and everything. So yeah, like I think given that match and also matches that led from it, one thing that seemed to be the narrative like throughout the tournament was that Ice Climbers are still like a very poorly understood character, and that even though nationally, like I feel like there's this idea that we get Ice Climbers now and that people have figured out how to beat them, that really like seemed to not be true, even at like what's considered like some of the highest levels of play.
I think Ice Climbers are very well understood. I think people are just fucking lazy, to be perfectly honest. Like, that's just what it comes down to. People, like, I think Alex19 would rather bank on not having to play an Ice Climbers in bracket than learn the matchup. I honestly think that's what it comes down to.
Yeah,
I actually agree with that point. Honestly,
Yeah, I
who wants to
just-
sit down and practice against Ice Climbers when you could practice way more other things?
like Fox Falco or Fox Falcon, the really the high energy matchups. It might come down to like resource management of your time, because if you have like 2 hours a night to practice on Smash Brothers, would you rather spend that time like on a matchup that you're going to be playing like 60% of the time, or a matchup that you're going to be playing like 3% of the time at some tournaments?
I feel like I'd rather practice the matchup that I don't know, just in case when I do play that player at that random tournament that I've never played against before, I have that matchup knowledge when in the event of playing like Fox Falco or Fox Falcon, Fox Marth, any kind of that matchup, I can go to a tournament and just play through bracket and learn the matchup basically that way, and make the bracket, instead of I need to win this tournament, make it more of like a learning experience so I can win the next tournament. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can definitely respect that. You value more of being like a well-rounded player with no real weaknesses.
Definitely.
And you would probably be the kind of player who studies your weak matchups, even if they're like unobvious or obscure, right?
I think, sorry to interrupt, but I think the way I look at it is like, you can learn a lot about every top tier character from playing against other top tier characters. Like Sheik is a little different, I think, compared to Marth and Fox. Like Falco is kind of like, you know, unique compared to the others. I just think Ice Climbers play such a different game from every other character. You're asking for shit like this to happen if you don't have the knowledge. And like, if somebody like Alex is obviously a good player, you know, Mike Hayes is obviously a good player. if they went and learned specific things about that matchup, they would probably never lose to Ices again, like including the really good ones.
So my experience of Pound was a little different than everyone else this call. Actually, everyone here went to Pound except for me. So I was stream monstering. Oh, right. And I woke up at like, I don't know, whatever on Friday. And then I see that, hey, Numbers has beaten DJ Nintendo. So I turn on the stream. Literally the first thing I see on the stream is DJ Nintendo talking about how good this player was and how he got smoked. I think that was the word he used. He used the
Wait,
word
did he
smoked
really?
3 times. It was so good. And he
Who
gave
said
you,
that?
yeah,
DJ.
smoked. Yeah, and he gave you mad props. And that was what seemed to be a recurring theme, is that there's this hidden player that no one has ever seen before outside of New England, that seems to have this posse around him, just screaming his name everywhere he goes, and taking names and bodying fools. And no one's ever seen him. And people were that I was in a chat with, that I was watching with, were actually angry that you were never on stream, because all the commentators would just go up on, oh, he took this top 100 player's name, it took this other top 100 player. But it turned out later, we found out that you had actually requested to keep your matches off stream. What was the reasoning behind that?
The main reasoning I didn't have my matches on stream was because playing on streams throw my nerves like way out of whack, and I knew that I had a much better chance winning as many matches as I did by just playing off stream.
So when I heard that, I was like blown away, because I think everyone's dream when going to a national like Pound is, man, I want to be on stream in front of tens of thousands of viewers and be like, be nationally recognized or whatever. But you had the incredibly pragmatic and, might I say, ice climbers like approach, where you just took the W however you could. And I thought that was super cool. maybe that's a little biased.
All I have to say is that if I played HBox off stream, I would have won.
Yeah, exactly.
I can
the
actually-
correlation is 100%.
I believe that for a second.
Exactly 1 second.
Exactly. After that,
So how did your other sets go then? So you talked about your DJ set. How was the Alex 9? Wait, did you play Mac D next or Alex 19 next?
Played Alex.
Alex was after
Alex.
DJ and then Mac.
Okay. So how was your Alex set?
The Alex 19 set was interesting because I didn't have time to eat breakfast or anything. All I did was warm up with Crush beforehand, which was actually really useful. And game 1 I played really sloppy, and I think I got like 3 stocked or something, or maybe 2 stocked.
I think it was 2
pretty
stock.
bad.
I watched it pretty recently.
And after game 1, I was like, I don't want to lose this set because I wanted to make top 64. So I decided to not mess around. I went to Fountain, I think, and since the space was a lot more confined, I just caught on to his movement. And then into game 3, I think he took me to Stadium, which was a mistake because now that I knew his movement patterns, I had a lot more room to just abuse that. And he also didn't use the transformations well, which was exactly what I wanted, and I just managed to win.
Yeah, I felt like you managed the transformations a lot better. There was one moment where I think you grabbed him as the stage was beginning to change, and you waited for this stage to completely be back to neutral before you did the finishing blow on him, which is something I've observed in your play a lot. So you can get a grab out of like a shenanigan situation, but you keep on wobbling until the stage change has finished before you kill them, so that there's like no walls to DI to tech off of or anything. It's really crafty.
I also do that because Ice Climbers actually suck on most transformations that aren't grass, just like playing against most characters. So I want it basically to be on a fair ground when the wobble's complete, basically.
Right. And I think the last wobble that you got was one where you had such a good read on Alex's movement. He was on a platform above you and he was like harassing you with shine, but you just straight up rolled underneath the platform and just knew that he was going to be there to attack with like a shine or a back air and just got a raw grab off of it.
I believe so too. I think I remember that one. I got a lot of roll grabs actually, which was
it was hella sick.
something.
That's one thing you do to me that like no other ISU's player does, is you just like you call people's like dash back or roll away and like hard read into wobble, which is like super strong, but no one else does it. And it's just, I don't know.
Good.
I'm always like, man, I got super hard red, but now I'm dead. I guess I deserved it, but
Now
I'm still
get,
sad.
I get to sit here for 20 seconds and think about how fucking hard I just got outplayed.
Yeah,
Reading
that's
the base
basically it. Like, I'm like, it's like, wow, that was actually like amazing.
Got destroyed. Absolutely.
I lost a stock now, so I'm like kind of sad about that.
You don't even get to play immediately because and there's I think there's nothing that feels worse than getting red wave dashing back or rolling because it's like there's only one reason they would have walked into all of your space and taken that. So the psychological damage is real. By the way, numbers. Your entire bracket run was Icy's worst matchup 5 times in a row, and then also MacD. How in the world did you beat MacD?
That's a good question.
He was the worst version of Mafia.
Yeah,
I
I remember
actually-
seeing that. You put him on blast saying that, yeah, it was just easier than Mafia, which I think is amazing.
That makes
Wait,
sense a
did
little.
that get put out? I don't remember.
I called you, and then you told me that, and then I immediately tweeted that because that was one of the most legendary things I had ever heard. You
Please
called
tell
me,
me
and
you
I was
didn't
like,
tag Becky in
I
that
was on
tweet.
the verge of tears at my work on my break, literally outside. I was like, "There's no way this just happened." And then I
Yeah,
called
so
you,
you're a little bitch, dude.
Dave. I swear to fucking God, I was freaking out, dude.
Amazing.
Jason's my boy. Raised him from young, and then I heard you say that, and I literally was just like, "There's no way this just happened." So I had to tweet it out. Like that was legendary.
But did you
I'm
tag
not
him in
gonna
it?
lie. I said that there was a small but real chance that this could happen because I played against you a lot recently. I think we played like 3 sets in the last week,
Yep.
and
Yeah,
I was
we
like,
played twice at SSS and then New Game Plus, I believe.
yeah, and I was
Or no,
like, man,
we played 3 times at SSS, right? Because you reset.
yeah.
So yeah, 4 sets.
So I was like, yeah, he's hella good against Peach. I could see MacD killing himself like a lot. And just because, I mean, it's MacD. I saw that your pool had Laud in it as well. I'm like, I think you're not very likely to beat Laud comparatively. I don't know if you would agree with that. But I think that MacD was a possibility. And I mean, I was still surprised when it happened, but I thought that was super.
Why? Well,
I'm trying to figure out why Laud over MacD.
Because Laud plays super safe, right? Like
Lot also has the MDVA like Ice Climbers train. So
That's true. Yeah.
I
there's
guess
just
that's
no
fair.
ices in SoCal that like are nationally recognized besides Fly, who doesn't wobble.
What about
And,
Frycook?
Frycook is New
Frycook is,
Jersey.
Oh, he's New
Tri-State.
Jersey. Okay, who am I thinking
Fly's
of?
also been like MIA for a year and a half.
He said he's
which was-
coming back.
The only
Yeah.
decent ICs in Cali right now is Army, to my knowledge.
That's what I was thinking of.
There's one more guy called Leland.
Rock
Oh,
Leland.
yeah,
Rock
Rock
Leland.
Leland.
Yeah.
Who
I mean,
beat Alex
like,
19 recently.
regardless, McCain did beat Wobbles in a 3 out of 5 like less than 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like good shit, you know.
He did what
Like,
Wobbles
else can you
couldn't.
say? Good shit.
do you want to
Yeah.
talk a little bit about that and the Peach matchup in general? Because that's like, and when you're playing a lower mid tier or not Fox and Falco, you're gonna have to deal with those problem matchups that you have to grind and think about harder than your opponent to be able to beat them and just outplay them. So do you want to talk a little bit about playing MacD and the struggle against Peach?
Honestly, playing against MacD was actually one of the easier sets I think that I had to play. Mostly just because I knew that MacD wanted to down smash because that's just his thing. And
Dad.
Ices can
hard
punish
read.
Peach's down smash with literally a wobble every time. And if you watched, I think I took most of the stocks just punishing his down smashes. And when he was finally scared to down smash, I jab grabbed him and won the set.
Give him the
It sounds
dad.
so simple when you say it that way.
I mean, it kind of like was, I guess, because
But Wobble's gonna do it.
well, Wobbles, I think, is actually worse at like harassing Peach in the air than I am, or maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm egotistical. I guess.
Well, like
Well,
what?
Matt Dots agrees with you that you are the best ice climbers in the world. I don't know if you saw that pop off, but that shout out was hype.
I
He-
don't
he
think I
put-
did see that.
He put so Wobbles is there at the commentary
At the
desk,
booth.
commentary with homemade waffles. They were the homemade
On your
waffles.
Hungry Box set.
Yeah, and Matt comes up to the stream and says that you are going to do amazing, and you have done amazing, and you're the best ice climbers in the world, right in front of Wobbles. And
Then he
the
spit
direct
on
quote-
homemade waffles. Like
He
everything.
spit on him. It was amazing. He was just
Spit on him? What the
He
fuck?
he
But, well,
literally
like-
he like put the headset back on. And he's like, Matt.Zip just spit on the kid.
Yeah, it was just
That was
it was
so
too much
excited.
humor.
It wasn't like an actual spit.
No, no, it
like
was
a
just the
talking
enthusiasm
loudly
was
spit.
overflowing.
Yeah.
And the direct quote from Wobbles is, he just
force
force
stalked
stalks
my
my heart.
Wow.
It was hilarious.
It's amazing. Wow, I'm so surprised that you thought that MacD was like one of your easier opponents. Like, I think so many people would just be intimidated by the fact that like A, you're playing a Peach, and B, you're playing one of the most like aggressive and like presumably like skilled Peaches at the matchup in the world. Um, I feel like one of your greatest strengths is your ability to like not really be intimidated by people's like by their reputations, and then just to process their style for what it is. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think that's mostly pretty accurate, to be honest.
I think like more than almost any other player I know, like you're not afraid to call people out for bad habits and like bad play style, and you've been converting it into results in like a frightening way. So, hats off to you for that.
Yeah, I just think like that's why my ICs are so good, is because you can have just like small little mistakes, and then I just convert them into stocks constantly.
I think I've also noticed that you're as good of a player as you are because you take away from videos like the really important stuff. You mentioned watching the DG Nintendo games against Kid Boogie and being able to like process like his style and also his tendencies. And you mentioned other things that were really interesting, like having a read on Alex 19's movement. I think generally when we talk about players, like we'll think a lot about like how they attack and like how they get around the stage and like their tech skill, things like that. But your approach is just like, oh, this guy moves this way, I can call him out for moving this way and take a stocks for doing that.
I just have to mention, if DJ, I didn't realize that DJ actually gave you props, Jason. I think that's what I heard a second ago. That DJ like actually gave you props. DJ doesn't give anybody props. Ever.
DJ Nintendo.
Yeah, he tweeted after the set saying he played absolutely horribly.
Oh, okay.
DJ
Wait,
Nintendo.
did he give you props or didn't he?
No, he went on
He did
stream.
on stream.
He literally went on stream on Friday morning and said, I got smoked. He's really good.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I guess it's a little bit of both. But yeah, like, DJ doesn't really give anybody props, including, like, Mango. So, like, you know, good shit.
Heard here first, like numbers confirmed better than Mango.
Yeah, honestly.
Oh, God.
We have this thing called the
I could have won
Trans-
that tournament, man.
Remember the
Just so close. I mean, if only the stream was banned.
If
Banned
only the
stream
stream
for
was just cut off.
No, I think Jason had like a really legitimate shot of making it even further because had he not had a fight against Cobalt or had a different opponent, he was just like in the Sheik pool.
Your
And-
Cobalt game was so close.
I think I could have beat Cobalt too. I was
I
just
think
really burnt
you
out.
had like
by
some
that point.
crucial like choke moments that looked like, unfortunately. It was
Yeah.
really close with those. And so like if you just played like normal, you didn't have to play like amazing. I think you could have
Yeah.
done it.
I was
I don't
so burnt out during that set. I was actually like just standing in a corner with my eyes closed for like at least 10 minutes before I played that set.
Oh my god, poor
That's like
guy.
so typical Jason, dude.
That's
Sees
Was that
him at
like-
the tournament
That's
just
how losses.
Well, no,
like that
Cobalt's
might
still
happen, man.
amazing, but like I'm just saying, I was really fucking tired at that point.
Yeah, and he clearly knew the matchup. The first time you went for jab grab and I saw his response,
Yeah.
I'm like, this is going to be rough. Because Cobalt clearly knew what he was doing against Ices. I mean, Florida has no qualms about playing lame or playing whatever, or playing lame characters when they're
Cobalt
flagship.
doesn't
Cobalt
even
plays
play
pretty,
lane.
like,
He
cool.
plays like a crazy
Yeah.
person.
He just down throw, what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's
And it
what,
worked!
Yeah, that's
I-
what Ices is bad against.
I thought
Diz
down
actually
throw
told me how to
separates.
punish that too.
I think down throw is supposed to separate ice climbers because of like the laser hitboxes. So maybe if Nana gets grabbed, you can like DI away from the lasers and punish him back.
Yeah, up smash
The
out
only
of
way
shield.
that Ices can punish that, apparently, according to Diz, is with up smash out of shield. Because otherwise Shine will beat everything.
Wow. But yeah, Cobalt, it looked like he really practiced like the small moments that he really like. You get very small amounts of wiggle room, especially at early percentages against ice climbers. And Cobalt looked like he had practiced like the small moments really well. He didn't really get wobbled from like low percentages, and I feel like some of the setups like weren't quite as good against him. But yeah, as I was saying, like if you had survived past Cobalt, like the people left would have been like Swedish Delight or Latandis, and like
I think
I would have played Plup next if I had beaten
Uh,
Ball,
Plup
But
would have
Plup was on
definitely been a
tilt.
which
challenge.
would have
that
been
weekend.
pretty bad. Because
Mhm.
I'm not good against Samus.
Yeah, he would have definitely gone Samus against you. I thought Plup had lost to Nintendo in winners.
He did, which is actually surprising, because I can't remember the last time Plup lost to an Ices before that.
I can't remember it either. I did notice that
Lots of wobbles.
compared to, so there was some very convincing footage of Plup versus Chudat, where it just made the matchup look impossible for Ice Climbers. But I feel like the gap has been like getting smaller at every subsequent like meeting between those two characters. Like when we got to see Plup's Samus versus Wobbles, I want to say during battle.
Odds?
It was a 3. I think it was like a 3-0, but like every single game looked like pretty close and pretty doable. Or it was like a lot closer than it felt last time. It wasn't like a complete stop. So hearing about the Nintendo result wasn't like that surprising to me.
I think Plup was also super tilted a lot of that tournament. Like you could see a lot just in his facial
With the
expressions.
double
That he was
middle-
not
The double
having a good
middle
time.
finger, legendary. That last
Yeah.
wobble.
Man, I wish you had advanced past Cobalt. I would have been so like eager to cheer you on to get all the way into like losers finals or higher.
People were getting so hype at home. Like every time
I
we
was
heard the
freaking out.
results, like all the people I was talking with just go completely nuts.
Yeah.
Like this is actually something that I wanted to talk about. Was New England came out in force. It felt like you guys were the home team, right? It felt like you guys had the home court advantage. Like every tournament, like when you tournaments in SoCal, the crowd goes nuts for all the SoCal people. But it really felt like New England. This tournament was in New England with the huge cheering section you guys had, right? Like this is actually something that I want to hear input from Jesse with as well, because I know you have strong opinions about this. But like, how do you feel like the audience affected you guys, and whether or not like the cheering was too much or not, or like it was just you want to hear more of it? Like, what were your thoughts on that?
I attribute all of my wins to the crowd.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
In terms of like them helping you or like making other
I
person
think
play
it helped.
worse? Okay.
Because
That's
I've
like a
never
huge
like had
compliment.
crowds cheering for me before. In New England, everyone always was like,
I
they
was
cheer for my
only
opponents
fan.
because ice climbers are just that way, you know?
I was literally Jason's only fan when he picked up Ice Climbers. For like 6 months, I've been Jason's only fan.
You were my fan for a week.
I was your fan for a week, and then I had to play you in bracket.
How did that go?
I won on Yoshi's. We'll call it that. The rest of it was a body bag.
You won on Yoshi's? What the fuck?
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm ashamed.
Discrediting your one win.
that was literally right after I beat Lemon, dude. I was hot off the press, and then
Oh,
Howard destroyed
That was
me.
because I tried to freeze glitch you.
I'll have you know, I've taken games off DizKid Boogie.
Yeah, shouts to VBD.
Shouts to
But
BBD.
I've heard some some criticism from actually even members of New England that excessive cheering is a potential problem. This is actually something
PJ.
that's come up a lot. Yeah, PJ. Shout out
That's
to PJ.
PJ being a baby.
Friend of the cast, PJ, was on the show last week.
Yeah,
But
did he complain about the crowd? The
but this
Twitch
is
chat?
a lot of people have mentioned this before, that the crowd definitely has is a factor in how things turn out, right? Like can even affect results, especially if you're being serious. So I don't know. I don't know if there's anything you can do about it, or if there is anything that should be done about it. Jesse, I know that you're very vocal in favor of the crowd being as ridiculous and WWE as possible, right?
Oh, hell yeah. Would you like
I
me to
just
elaborate on that?
I want to mention the thing that PJ said on the Facebook thread about that, which is basically that if the tables had been turned and SoCal had been going fucking crazy, and then Jason came back later and said, "Yeah, I lost because those SoCal guys were distracting me," like you'd be pissed about it. You have to admit that, Jesse.
Alright, yeah. Fair enough. I think the best remedy for that kind of poison is just to yell back. I don't know. Maybe that's just me being a nut, but I think
Well,
yelling back.
I'll tell you this much: it's getting more and more necessary to learn to play with headphones in.
Did you
Like,
see
people
that
gotta-
all
people gotta do
the
that shit.
Florida people they have powered audio splitters that are like portable, so they listen to the game audio with their headphones, which is
Yeah,
kind of
Flop has
smart.
one of those.
So does Wizrobe.
So
yeah, all
does
the Florida
PK.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, stream setup at Shine will have that actually.
I think it's going to be really good because a lot of the times, like when you're absorbed in the game, you don't really hear what's going on in the crowd. So I think the last time I played against Eddie Mexico at Apex, there was like a really big crowd, and apparently people were like being pretty loud about it from New England. But I just played the game as like completely normally as I could, and I think the more you can block that away from either side, then the better it'll be. Regardless, like I sort of get like PJ's point too, like it shouldn't be on the player to like find a way to block out sound. Maybe we should just be respectful of like the player's preferences and not, go too crazy in cheering for one player or cheering against another.
One
Yeah.
thing that's awesome about cheering is you get to be in the crowd and cheer. That's like the most fun thing I've
Yeah,
ever
it's
done.
so
Literally
fun.
Literally the most fun thing I think I do. I think I go to Melee tournaments just so I can cheer for people. Or shit talk. Like,
And listening to the VODs
Take your-
afterwards, it
take your-
sounds so ridiculous, but
Yeah.
it was so fun when it happened. I don't know. I loved it. Thanks, Jason, for doing well. I got to cheer for so many sets.
No
I
problem.
think being part of the audience is great, and I think that I disagree with what you said earlier, Tian. That it shouldn't be the player's responsibility to kind of insulate themselves with the crowd. And crowds are a fact of life, right? You can't control the crowd; they're gonna go nuts. They're gonna pop off. And I think that if you are affected by it, the Florida setup is amazing, and I'm totally gonna steal that because I mean, I definitely notice people yelling. So I think that I don't know. I'm in favor of people going nuts to anything that's within reasonable. And to be honest, the New England cheering was not like insane over the top. Like you've heard the old jeers from back in the day, literally like booing players all the time. None of that happened. Yeah, it's just something that I think players will have to insulate themselves to. And I completely agree with Zosa that people are gonna have to figure out a way to deal with it.
Did you know that like the New England crowd was like having a conversation with Hungrybox practically when he was playing his games? Just like trash talking him, and he was like sort of like bobbing his head in acknowledgement to some of the things we were saying. It was completely absurd.
Oh, that
Hungrybox
makes
is making such a good show of it.
he's just being pretty disrespectful with that too, though. Like, real talk.
Well, yeah, but
I mean,
it
a
was
little
also
bit, but it wasn't-
hilarious.
Yeah, it
There
was
were
still
like
wicked
50
funny.
people cheering against Hungrybox. It was
That's
pretty
still funny,
unreal.
though.
I
Just took
think
it like a champ.
Hungrybox just realized that he's like the ultimate heel for the Smash community, and he's embraced it so hard.
Yeah, I agree. He's as good as Filipino champ is for Street Fighter, I would say.
You mean Marvel?
Or Marble, yeah, either or. He's a villain in both games.
I gotta pull out the hoodie, don't I?
So,
Mike?
I mean, he's not even close to F champ level, but he's a good
I mean,
heel.
HBox doesn't intentionally go around alienating people, right?
Sure.
And like Melee doesn't. The only Melee heal like that at top level is Leffen.
That's true, yeah.
Nothing's so cool.
Mango,
No,
to some
no, he
extent.
isn't,
No.
Theo. No, he isn't, Theo. I'm so sorry to tell you this, but no, he isn't.
Whatever.
I think
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah, whatever.
So, speaking of like New England and also like the New England support, one thing I kind of wanted to like pick your brain about a little bit, Jason, is the fact that like, and also for Jesse, like, as it stands, New Hampshire was for like a really long time like an extremely geographically isolated region. Like some of our good players from New Hampshire were like Pine from the 2000s.
Ooh, Mike Pine Skler. With,
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And even when I moved here for school, like I didn't really play with like the Manchester crowd and the people who lived around that area. I was pretty busy with everything on my end, so I only got to play it locally. But despite all that, like you and Jesse managed to like travel a lot. You guys went to like Massachusetts tournaments. How did you get to be like so explosively good, in an area where you were pretty much like accepted to be the best player and playing a character that nobody in the state understood?
I got a license.
You got a
I
driver's
got a
license.
license and Jason had gas money. Like, that was it. That's how he got so good.
Yeah,
Constant tournaments. We had 2 tournaments every weekend. We had SSS on Saturday because it used to
level up.
We had SSS Saturday, Level Up Sunday. We used to go to a lot of PM tournaments, but that's neither here nor there. But I don't know. We always had the drive. Me and Jason hit it off really well when he was like a young Falco player, and I'd body him. And then I was like, wow, this kid really wants to get good. And then we'd start talking, and then he'd start doing well, and then I'd be like, hey, you want to go to this tournament? And he's like, hell yeah, dude. And I'm like, okay. And then he'd just pitch in gas money, and we'd go chill till like 2 in the morning, and just do that every week. Go to like 4 or 5 tournaments when we could, which is really like the key to getting good. It didn't work out for me because I suck at Melee, because so does mental block. And
You did not suck at Melee, Jesse. Pretty sure you took out Lemon just last week.
one time. I'll do it again next time. Trust
Yeah,
me.
I believe in you.
This is the first time I think in as long as I can remember that you have not been at Make Money Off Melee. Actually, that's not true. You didn't go for a couple weeks in a row, but I felt like you were a
Kind of
staple
on
at
hiatus.
Me or
Yeah.
Jason?
Jason. But you were definitely going to like. I felt like you were at a tournament every day of the week for a long time.
It was.
I mean, I tried to be because I really had a drive to get good, and I still do, for the most part, which I think is one of the reasons I've gotten good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Me and Jason actually, we went to, what was it, 11 tournaments in 14 days, Jason?
Something like that, yeah.
So like that, because I was
That
on
was when we went to Hog, right?
it was my vacation, so we went, what was it? We didn't go to New Game Plus that week. We went to Amesbury, then we went to Hog, then we went to Smash on the Hill, SSS, Level Up. Then we skipped Monday, New Game Plus, Amesbury, skipped Thursday.
That's the
Smash-
2015 Zoso shit.
Smash
That
on the
is-
Hill, and then some Saturday tournament. It was like a mass madness, and then Level Up, and then we were done. I like
That
couldn't
is
do it anymore.
hardcore.
I could not do it anymore. I was having a mental breakdown playing that much Melee.
I had no
It's
idea
like
that
a
you
Rocky
guys-
training montage right there.
Yeah, I had no idea that you guys had traveled like quite this much, and that you guys were making like such good use of like the Melee tournament schedule, for example.
Destroyed my tires. I'll tell you that much. More.
Hey,
Yeah,
You can discredit the Level Up Smash tournaments because I just won those with Peach.
He literally won those with Peach. I'd be in grants with Link. Like it was like a paycheck, but we enjoyed it.
yeah.
All right, we are deep into the cast. I think it is finally time to bust out the topic of wobbling.
yay!
Yay, everyone's favorite topic.
I need to go to the challenge link for the one hog we went to and just pull up infinite numbers over Zoso 2-1.
Yeah. So it feels like
Classic
So,
set.
Classic setup.
why don't we just watch the set on repeat for the rest of the cast?
Well,
I'm
I
down.
can't.
I still watch that set at least once every day.
Same.
I just skipped game 2 though. I don't know what happened.
Howard, you said the word.
Yeah. Anyways, so
Ah,
it feels like
wobbling.
every time you beat a player, there would be like this Twitter storm immediately following about wobbling, and then people were like, "Just kidding, numbers is really cool." Right?
Yeah,
Like everyone
No one
seems
knows
to,
Jason's the homie.
yeah, everyone seems to like you, but they're like, "God damn it, I lost to wobbling," right? And there was like to the point where respected TOs were like, "Yeah, wobbling sucks," right? Like, what do you? So, I think you just need to hear it from that man himself. What are you? Should people just get over it? Like, is wobbling just the future?
Wobbling is the future.
What do you? How do you think wobbling affects the game, and do you think it's good for the game?
20 ice.
I think wobbling's such a weird thing. I think it's like good and bad in a way, I guess. Because wobbling is like a super polarizing mechanic inherently, right? But at the same time, I think the fact that it makes Ice Climbers a viable character is objectively a good thing just because it adds more character variety. Whether or not you like Ice Climbers doesn't matter because it still adds to the game. You just probably might not like it.
No
Damn.
other character in the game has true infinites. Like true
Sheik
unconditional
has-
infinites.
That
Down
is
throw
true.
infinites, and Falcon has aerial infinites, but yeah.
This is the guy who used to play Puff and just back air.
Puff
for
Sledge
minutes.
Infinite's pretty good.
Jason, once you win Evo 3 times in a row, do you think wobbling will be banned?
Probably.
Ban it like Bandra.
Yeah, I know that some of the Twitter conversations that followed after you started getting wins, like a lot of the tweets would like start off something along the lines of like, "Lol, lost to this Ice Climbers player," and then they would retract it, saying like, "No, actually, it's cool. Wobbling's legit. I can accept my loss." But there would always be like this awkward buffer period where people weren't really sure if like the people you were beating were like salty or whether they were like, you know, like it was
They were
angry or like disappointed in wobbling. It was really unclear.
I think MacD was the only one that did not seem salty at all afterwards. I could have had a bad read on him though.
Yeah.
No, I think that's
Fair.
right. Peach players just don't get mad when they lose to Ice Climbers because they're like, man, I deserved it.
Yeah, I don't think Peach players have a right to be mad when they lose to Ices.
Yeah. It's just,
Oh. When I lose to Jason, at least, it feels like I get a lot more mad losing to DizKid. DizKid spams, like, spot dodge blizzard setups, which are, like, great, and I'm bad for getting hit
mean
by it.
desync
But it makes
blizzard?
it feels, I don't know, I feel less sad when I feel like I got, like, conditioned in lots of movement game mix-ups than when I just, like, got hit by crazy desync stuff 4 times in a row that I had no idea how it worked. Which is probably easier to beat in the long run, so I should actually like that more. But it feels a lot worse to get hit by.
So do you
Oh.
think wobbling should be like should even be considered for banning? Like should TOs like stances
think
towards
so.
wobbling affect things at all? Like, should we
Mm.
expect to see wobbling legal at EVO?
Yes.
I think the best argument against banning it is that it's basically impossible to enforce because you can do lots of things when you grab. Does that mean you ban blizzobbling? Because that's a true infinite, but it's really hard. Or do you like limit the amount of forward tilts you do after you get a grab? Because then you could do like 3
Down tilt.
forward tilts into like 2 blizzards into down throw regrab, and do
Into-
like a pseudo infinite. I mean, that has like more escape options, but even if you limit it, you can still get like 60% off a grab. And then also, no one's going to actually understand what's going on, so they'll call it TO over if you do this really elaborate setup. And you're like, it's not wobbling, it still kind of works. And then they're like, the Icy's Bane, who knows what's going on. They might have like actually cheated, but like they probably didn't. And then who knows what's happening because only like 4 people actually understand how ice climbers work. So.
I mean, I think you would just say, like, you can't do anything that keeps your opponent in the capture damage state indefinitely, but, like, I can tell you this, regardless of whether or not major melee TOs ban wobbling, no chance in hell that shit's getting banned at EVO. Like,
Oh, God,
absolutely not. No
God,
chance.
I don't think it's gonna get banned by any TO. Realistically, it's like it's just a part of the game. Like you
No,
look
I
at
don't think it's very likely either.
No, you look at MDVA where it has like the best, like the best ice climbers in the the world. It has Nintendo Dude and Shootout. They look at them, they're wobblers. Like essentially, they're ice climbers players, and they're very good as ice climbers players. But a large part of their game is getting the wobble, getting the grabs, like doing what they need to do to win the game. And essentially, it's like if you're gonna ban that, you're basically like it's like nerfing the character in Smash 4. You know what I mean? Like if you look at Smash 4, it's like you just nerf the character because they're good. And if they could nerf Melee, I think they would have by now. But I don't think it's going to get banned at all.
It's one of the beauties of Melee. Melee has been so like untouched over the years that like it's been very the metagame has evolved around like the game itself. Like there haven't had to been like too many like doctored rules in order to make Melee playable. Melee's been pretty much like the same ever since like 2005 or 6. Like tiny changes here or there, but like nothing major. So I think I would definitely support like wobbling being legal like at all nationals and at all regional tournaments.
I mean, I don't know if it's like even a debate. I think like 3 people got salty on Twitter, and then everyone else is like, "You guys are morons." So I don't really see it happening.
Yeah, and I don't think the vocality of like the people who get salty should really affect like the consideration either.
The only thing that made me think there's even a remote possibility is honestly just like Juggle Guy and Plank. And I'm pretty sure that I heard that Plank said he would ban it. I don't know if that's actually true. So, John, if that's not true, I apologize. But like, if
He doesn't have the guts.
if you think about like what the culture of the scene is like or was like at Pound 4, we were still playing with like Brinstar legal. And it was like in the year or so after that, like I was in the Melee backroom when they started talking about doing stage strikes and having, because before that we were like randoming for the first stage, which is funny to think about. But after that, like we kind of started paring down the stage list really, really far. And for years, Alucard said that he would never consider doing anything like that. But then like once everybody else did it, he kind of like had to follow suit. So that's the only thing that makes me think maybe, but like, I don't know. If you go on Facebook or like look at old Smashboards posts, the discussion about wobbling has pretty much been in the same place for like 8 years. Like, it's just, I don't really see it going anywhere. Like, it's just not going to happen, nor do I think it should.
Well, the last big development, so to speak, was about a year ago at the Big House, or 2 years ago now, where Juggle Guy says that he's opposed to wobbling, but he's still going to unban it because of nationals reasons. With the main reason for keeping wobbling banned being that it warps mid-level play, right? So theoretically, it really shouldn't have an effect at top-level play, which top 16, top 64 at Pound is. So it felt a little surreal to me because, like, in my head, that's the only legitimate quote-unquote argument for wobbling is that it changes like the mid-level. But these are the best players in the world, and they're all like, man, wobbling's the worst.
Yeah, Jason like wobbled like he got wobbles off on like 3 Melee Anami top 100 players. That's I would hardly call that like mid-level Melee. I think we just have to accept that it's like a really legitimate infinite, and that there's like a lot of like reading and a very special like way you need to play the game and process the game in order to get them off. But they bring so much diversity to the metagame.
I don't think that's true. I think there are a lot of really stupid wobbles that are unearned and are like the opponent just being a moron. But that's okay, right? Like that's just part of the game. But you can't. I don't think it's fair to call every wobble like a sweet out play. That's like calling like
I just
every
wanna
like
mention-
Jigglypuff rest a sweet out play when they like
No, me
I don't
next.
know, just
So.
spam
Yeah, sorry,
shield
go ahead.
grab.
No, it's okay.
One of my favorite things was when this is completely aside, but when you went for jab grab numbers, when you went for jab grab and the jab misses and the grab hits, and I'm like, oh, that's great. It's just like surprise, I grabbed.
It's an option select.
It's an option select.
Or-
Twice the grabs in the same time.
The Diz Kid special is where both miss.
Yeah.
Like, well, the jab didn't hit, but he might be there in a second. So
The Mad Dot's a classic. Dave, I actually, on the topic of like banning like a certain element of a character, or like even banning a character,
Yeah,
were
go
you around when they tried to ban like Puff? When Puff, basically when Mango was around. I don't know if you've been playing that long.
there was never any serious effort to ban Puff.
Yeah, I feel like there was like discussion about it though.
It's just like I said, the culture in the community is very heavily dictated by what the TOs decide to do. And like I want to say that people vote with their attendance at tournaments, but like I really severely doubt that people would not go to Big House as a result of wobbling getting banned. But wobbling isn't going to get banned. But I want to talk about something kind of along these lines. First of all, Theo, what you just said about how some wobbles are really dumb and unearned. I just want to mention that we play a game where you can literally fucking die from messing up tech skill. You can be like one frame off on an input and lose your stock at 0.
I love that.
Which is why I lost game 1 of my set to Crush at New Game Plus the last time I played him.
And then you 6-0'd him, right?
Yeah, something like. Well, I actually 7-0'd him. He was so salty that he wanted to play me again, and I JV5'd him, and he almost cried. But that we don't need to talk about that.
And then he
even though I
Yu-Gi-Oh.
would love to talk about that, we don't need to talk about that.
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, we can just watch
So,
it, right?
a big difference between like culture in this scene and culture in like if you look at Street Fighter like the Street Fighter community, like Marvel, in like the FGC scene, like people say shit is lame, but there's not really like any stigma attached to that necessarily. You know, like Justin Wong will be like, "Yeah, guys, I play lame as fuck," and everybody's like, "Yeah, you do, Justin, but man, we love you." You know,
Man, your Akuma is so sick, but
yeah,
so
and like F-Champ bragging about how he was gonna like make Kane Blue River want to quit the game and just like repulsing him across the screen for
That
like
was so
40,
sick.
yeah, like
Oh
40
my
Marvel
God.
seconds.
Teaching
I think
8-year-olds
40 Marvel seconds.
Yeah, a Marvel second is
opposed to
equivalent
real-
to like 40 real-time seconds. So like that's
Shit.
a really, really long time. So
Crazy rate.
yeah, like first of all, there's that, and like if you look at Marvel, like in Marvel, every fucking character is ice climbers, except like Skrull and like the Firebrand stuff, where it's literally like you get wobbled and lose 3 stocks.
It was
Like,
so
imagine-
funny.
Yeah, imagine that shit.
I heard on stream, someone was like, imagine if in Street Fighter or like another fighting game, there was a character that they just grab you and you lose your entire stock. I'm like, dude, you clearly have not played Street Fighter
I mean,
or
like, if
Marvel.
you look
That
at
character exists.
Yeah, if
He's
you look
named
at Super-
Zangief.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Mika.
I
Like,
literally
And
came from
Turbo
Marvel 3.
T-Hawk
Naughty
has like
game
a real infinite now.
Yeah.
Dave, you were talking about so other nutty games are like Fist of the North Star, where like
Yeah.
half the cast
I'm
has
not-
like
we don't
Wait,
even
that's a
need to
game?
go to
I
like
thought
bad
that was just
fighting
an
games.
anime.
yeah
it's
the fighting
just
game
like-
for it is just like half the cast is like one-touch kills, but people still play it.
Sick.
It's-
That's so sick, Jason. We got to get in on that. I got my sticker.
Yeah, actually.
The thing is, we don't even need to talk about like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and like the stupid fighting games. We can look at like we can look at like really popular mainstream games, and like in Super Turbo, if you get thrown, you take 30%, just like a normal throw, and you don't soften the throw, you just take like most of your life. Sagat's
That's
uppercut.
crazy.
You jump in on Sagat and you get uppercutted, you take like 25%.
Shouts to
Or
Blaze
even
Blue.
like Smash 64. You mess up once, you're
That's
dead.
true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
And,
Like rip.
I think stocks are a little different, but like if you get wobbled and you think, oh, I just lost like 25% of this round, you know, like that's not that big a deal. It's
That's
like
kind of a bad mentality to have, though. I think.
Well, I just think it's better than being like, oh my god, I'm getting wobbled. Oh my god, I hate this so much. You know,
You
like
think that. You think that every single time you
yeah,
get grabbed.
like everybody does. But the point is, like, you got to try to like just be
Rationalize it.
Yeah, just like accept it for what it is. You know, like it's really not all that ridiculous.
One thing that I've talked to Jason about before, like in real life, is like just one of my thoughts about like getting wobbled and like playing against ice climbers. I sometimes don't really look too much at like the stock count and also at percentages because you're playing sort of like against a character who has different goals than you. You're trying to kill them 4 times, like both of their characters. They're trying to like get rid of 4 of their stocks, whereas their goal is to grab you 4 times. And in certain matchups where it's really pretty much impossible to kill your opponent's character, let's say it's like Samus or Jigglypuff, you're not going to kill them off of damage almost ever. So like you just have to accept the fact that they're going to get like 95% of their kills or more from just like grabs with both ice climbers present. You have to like adapt your your expectations based off of that.
So, this question goes back to numbers. So I was watching the stream from at home, and to me, it looked like, from the what I could visibly see, that Pound 6 was an especially salty tournament. And I don't know if this is true. I don't usually follow Twitter. I don't usually look at someone and like, man, that guy's mad. But I definitely felt that when I saw people. And so as I guess this goes out to everyone who was there, but starting with numbers, do you feel like that was true?
I think
people
that
were
was very
super
true.
salty?
Almost every, at least, like higher up player that I interacted with did not seem to be in the best mood, to say the least.
Dang.
I can agree with Jason on this one.
Do you think that's because you were ices or because that people are just salty people?
It kind of depends from person to person. The only one I remember is when I JV 4-stocked Hugo. I think that set things pretty bad.
And I tweeted about it. Oh my god, that was so funny.
But no, I just think it was because no one knew me, and then I was kind of just chilling with them because that's where I was in bracket, and they're kind of just like, well, who is this guy? Like, who does he think he is?
Was that a money match or was that like a tournament set?
I tried to make it a money match, but he declined. It was just
wow.
a lot of friendlies, and then he got bodied by Chudat.
Hugo almost never declines money matches.
This is Jason. I'm bad against Samus. Infinite numbers.
Wow.
I mean, every other game is like literally last
banning
off,
me on every single form of social media.
Wait, yeah, Jason, what were you saying about hugs?
I just said that every other game after that was last stock. So like, I don't know. I think when I was just trying to be around those players, like, I don't know, they thought I didn't belong because like I was in bracket, but I was just some ICs, you know.
That's really not cool though, because like, I feel like I've always thought that the Smash community has been like remarkably meritocratic in the sense that if you have achievements to back up like your name, like no matter who you are, what your background is like, whether you're male or female, whatever your sexual orientation might be, we don't really care about that. We're supposed to be colorblind and we're supposed to be like very accepting. So it kind of stinks that like you sort of have to like earn your stripes even if you're like an incredibly skilled player. Did you feel like, I'm sure you felt that to some degree during Pound, right?
Yeah, I actually felt it a lot. Like, there were quite a few top player interactions where that kind of happened, and it kind of left a sour taste in my mouth.
I'm so sorry you had to experience that.
It happens. I mean, I outplaced most of them, so.
Damn! Sucks, kitties!
We call that a body bag. That's the New Hampshire special.
Yeah, I would like to think that that's just Pound, because the nationals that I've gone to have, I feel like there's just hasn't been as much salt floating in the air as there was at this one. And bracket was crazy for this tournament, right?
I think that's why it was salty, by the way, because of the number of upsets.
There was an upset like there was 3 upsets every round or something ridiculous.
The tournament was fraudulent.
I mean, I think part of the reason that like I think the Melee community changes its opinions of players very slowly. Like Melee at Omni top 100, people don't move that much, like regardless of recent results, and like people, because it's also such a hard game that people don't really come out of nowhere. Like numbers are like the first like person in like I don't know ever that gets
yeah. This is pretty much unprecedented.
National. That hasn't happened since like 2008 or something. So
I can't even think of the last player who's like had to run this crazy, seemingly quote unquote out of nowhere.
Yeah. So you did something that like is like so rare, which is really cool. So a lot of those players are probably shocked, but hopefully, if you go to more things, they'll respect you, and I hope it doesn't happen again.
I hope it never happens again.
Or
And
it
that,
does, and they go on tilt every time they play you, and you get better results. Because
I
like
mean,
that works
like,
too.
a few people really publicly supported him, like Leffen, I'm pretty sure did.
Leffen really
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, Mewtwo King did.
He blocks me on Twitter.
Did they actually support me though? Neither of them really directly state. Well, Leffen did.
Leffen
Yeah,
did.
It was
Leffen
just
said
kind of
like,
like who's
yeah,
infinite numbers? How did he beat MacD?
good
That
stuff
was
to
so
make-
funny.
Well,
because
he
that's
said
not-
that, but then in another tweet like related to that thread, somebody talked about your run, and he just said like, not bad at all.
That's
I didn't see that.
impressive.
Yeah.
That's what I sort of mean with like the melee community being meritocratic. Like I feel like Leffen is someone who definitely like is results oriented and he respects results and like gameplay for what it is. That's what we sort of like expect from the community at large. So I feel like we should be more like accepting of like upsets and the possibility that like people you haven't heard of being really good.
All right. I think that's it from our show. You guys, do we have any viewer questions this week?
I think
don't
we had some
remember.
viewer questions from the threads.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
There are a few really good questions here, so I was hoping
Okay.
we'd get to those.
Yeah. I don't know if
You
you,
can
guys
go
are
ahead.
stressed on time, but I'm not. Jason just wants to get food later.
Steven, if you want to go ahead and read those questions, I
Yeah.
actually didn't read.
There's one question from Kunai that I really wanted to address. If anyone can find it, I'd like to read it. Okay, I think I found it. All right. All right. I'll read it. It might be something related to like what we've talked about before, but I'll read it anyway. Okay. A lot of people criticize Ice Climbers for being an easy character or not a real character. Blah blah blah. He thinks it's a form of a gimmick, and that the wins you had were somewhat undeserved. Honestly, New England as a whole didn't offer very much support during your rise. My question is, what are your opinions of the former, and how do you deal with criticisms as a competitor? Do you think people are right when they declare it a gimmick, or do you believe otherwise?
I definitely think that like calling ice climbers like easy is like such. I think like I don't know, a low level mindset to have. I guess I can't
It's a
really
Falcon
put it
player
into better
mindset.
words.
It's a Falcon player mindset.
Yeah,
like,
Sheik's easy.
It comes
Yeah,
from the
it's-
lizard brain.
But it's just like the thing with ice climbers is
very
like
dense.
if you don't play them, you don't really understand them because only ice climbers players really get what's going on.
Yeah.
So most people just see the surface level, which is just when they get the wobbles, and then that's all they see, and they just think it's kind of a brain dead gimmick. When there's actually a lot more to them than that. Like not anyone can just pick up ice climbers and then have results at pound like I did. Like you can do some fraudulent low level things with ice climbers, and I won't deny that. And they can even kind of spike to mid level sometimes, like relatively undeservingly. But like for the most part, it's not really just a gimmick. Like there's a lot that goes into the character that most people just don't recognize because they don't see it.
So
What do you think of like the idea of handling criticism as a competitor, especially as a new competitor, a strong new competitor emerging into the scene?
That's actually one of the most interesting things I learned from this weekend because I learned that with me succeeding, there's definitely gonna be a lot of negativity, especially for the character I play. But I also learned that for like every negative comment, I've been seeing like at least 3 more positive things and a lot more positivity in real life,
Good for
which
you,
I
man.
think helps people overcome those things.
Yeah. Right, and finally, like I guess, like for Kunai's question, this sort of like has to do with New England didn't offer much support during your rise. Do you agree with that? And like, what do you think New England could have provided for you more as a scene when you were so interested in getting better, or do you feel like everything is really good as it is?
That's a weird question. I think New England didn't like not support me. Like there were plenty of things that I could do that New England offered. Like there were plenty of good tournaments and things. It was more so just that like New England as a whole region didn't seem like supportive of just ice climbers, I guess. Which was weird because it only seemed to be that way when I started like doing things. Like I never noticed a problem with ice climbers when Kiyu Puff was more active or when BVB was doing things.
Crowd was fucking obnoxious, TBH.
Yeah.
It's just a
Wait, what'd you say?
crowd was fucking obnoxious, TBH.
Yeah, basically.
All right. No, I think New Hampshire supported Jason a lot. I mean, I guess
Yeah.
that's because we have very, very heavily New Hampshire bias because it was like this guy who's like on the come up, and we're like, yo, you're gonna get good, trust me. And then he picked up Ice Climbers and did really well. And just whenever whenever I could bring New Hampshire to a tournament. We'd always just like scream for Jason. So
Your
I think-
Carpool and also the guys like from Amesbury, like Patty, were so unbelievably supportive for all of your matches. I think not just everyone would have had like a dedicated crew of people like recording your games, like, and you definitely did, and thank goodness so many of those were recorded.
You guys have no idea how much of Homies the Amesbury crew is. I actually
Yeah.
attribute a lot of why I got good to just going to Amesbury, because like that tournament was such a positive environment.
That's
like,
awesome.
It was really easy. Like I could do whatever I wanted there and be supported, and like I was gradually just getting better going there every week because I'd have to play Lemon like round 3 every tournament until I finally. I'd have to play Mafia round 4 every tournament,
Yeah.
and it just I don't know.
That's how we
Everyone
got
kind
good
of
at the
like
Peach matchup.
just accepted you and rooted for you, and it was a really good experience. And I think that's actually how I got good more than anything.
That's amazing. Hearing some of the stories about like Q-Puff's experience, like in his early Melee career in New England, really made me think that there was a lot more that could have been done in terms of like supporting the players and supporting play styles. I know that both he and Dudusai suffered a little bit just because people didn't like the characters they played, so they didn't really get to get friendlies. So having a positive environment, like I didn't expect to make money off of Melee and Amesbury to be like that resource for you, but I'm really glad that it existed and that it helped like make you feel accepted. That's awesome.
Oh, so I know I'm not a viewer, but I have a question.
What's your question, Howard?
How did you,
Here we
Mr.
go.
Infinite Numbers? How did you know that Ice Climbers was your true calling and to switch off of the best character in the game, Fox?
That's actually a
That's a
funny
loaded question.
thing.
That's a
So
loaded question.
the story behind the switch
I
is
remember.
actually pretty cool. So in New Hampshire, we used to get, or during the summer, we would get enough people where we could run pools at our locals. And at that point, New Hampshire tournaments were like not necessarily the hardest. So I knew I could kind of just play whoever I wanted and still make it out of pools.
Just got, like,
So one time, I believe in July,
Mhm.
I decided to just try Ice Climbers and pools because I knew how to wobble, but that was it. And I just wanted to see like what was up with this character. Like I'd never played them. I'd played most other top tiers at least a bit, but I'd never like messed around with them. So
And
I played
Yoshi.
Ices and pools, and I don't think I lost to anyone. But like I was learning just a bunch of new things as I was playing them, and like the way Ices play Melee is so much different than like every other character. That was just like a really refreshing experience. So I just decided to keep playing them.
And then
Yeah,
there's
so it's just
Yoshi.
a fluke in tournament. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
So funny. So if this tournament had been a little harder, you never would have found your true calling.
Yeah, basically, if you guys went to more New Hampshire tournaments, I'd still be playing Fox.
That's so serendipitous. Oh my goodness.
That's surreal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny.
Wow.
It seems we cannot control what we brought.
Oh man, we did
You
this.
guys
Yeah.
brought this on yourself, man. I was just too free.
Oh, I have another question. What was your competitive fighting game history? Have you played any other games competitively before Smash Brothers, or was Melee the first one for you? What was your gaming background?
I played Marvel 3 competitively for, I want to say, 2 years, but I didn't attend many tournaments. Apex 2013, I believe, was the only one that I attended.
Tell
That
them
was
that
like
story.
large scale.
Tell them how you got into Smash, Jason. That's a good story.
Oh, well, it was at that Apex that I was waiting around in my Marvel pool, and I heard like because it was a separate room for Smash than FGC. I heard Dr. Pee-Pee like to the main stage or something. I was like, what kind of scrub has the tag Dr. Pee-Pee? Like, what the hell? So I like went over to check it out, and I just saw all these setups, and most of them were Melee, and I was like, what? Why aren't they playing the new version of Smash?
Brawl. I love Brawl.
Because I didn't know anything. So that was like my first encounter with Smash. And then I was still into Marvel at the time a lot, so I didn't really do much with it. But then at EVO, I saw Melee finally come back, and I was watching. I was like, wow, this game looks actually amazing. And then I just kind of got into it from there.
Mhm.
Which Evo was that? Was that the one?
That was the first one that came back with the donation drive.
Oh, with the Spirit
I
Bomb.
believe
Right?
it was 2013. Could be mistaken.
Nice.
I think
was
it's so funny that you
2014.
played Marvel. That makes so much sense.
I tried to play Marvel with Jason. I got destroyed. It was a bad time.
I went random on Jesse.
I literally did not take a single game.
Huh.
I just want to say shoutouts to this kid Vampa1 in chat saying like he's been arguing for like 30 minutes about how wobbling should be banned, and he said he claimed that the yo-yo glitch is banned because it ruins gameplay. Yes. So shoutouts to you.
And all those
If you can,
You're a god, dude.
If you can consistently get the yo-yo glitch in tournament, you are either a god or you are mofo. And if you're a god,
Well, that's one and the same.
yeah, that's literally like interchangeable, like godlike status. So I don't see how. That's real.
Well, Yat posted a question. He asked, "How do you keep your motivation up, and how do you balance it with the rest of your life?" I guess those are two separate questions. But
Literally.
yeah.
Motivation was actually one of the hardest things to keep playing Smash, because every now and then I hit a wall and I don't know, it's really easy to lose motivation. But I think like every time I have a good tournament or like I get a good win or just achieve like a small goal that I set for myself, it kind of just renews it, and then the cycle starts over where I just really want to play again and try super hard. So I think just setting small goals and like achievable goals and then achieving them is the best way to do that.
So this might sound a little weird, but I know for a fact that you've been an inspiration to a lot of New England players. A lot of people that I was talking to are like, yeah, I haven't touched a controller in weeks, but I saw numbers wrecking at Pound, and now I practiced for like 6 hours yesterday. So I know that your results have really been inspirational for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So in a way, your motivation has been trickling down.
I'd seen some like New England players like playing the game a lot more seriously than I ever had. Like I think I played against Keftastic in friendlies at Pound, and he was taking his games like pretty seriously and like putting in like good amounts of time effort. So, I mean, we're really really glad that you're inspiring so much positivity and also solidarity within the New England scene.
It's actually kind of nuts to think that I'm like inspiring other players, because literally just like 6-7 months ago, like other good players are doing that for me. So actually in particular was one of the big inspirations for me coming up.
I'm
Actually.
sorry. I'm sorry because I know that I've let you down every step of the way since then.
It's interesting though because like after a certain point, I guess your inspirations and your teachers end up being your rivals, and then at some point, like you become the people who end up teaching them.
The student becomes the master.
Yeah, right. Like
Yeah.
student beats master. The infinite numbers over is also 2-1 at Hog. I'll pull it right now. I swear to God.
Yeah.
Let me dig in the depths.
What happened at the New Game Plus after that? Does anybody remember? I'm pretty sure Jason didn't get far enough in the bracket to play me.
Didn't he have
And I
like
won.
flaps? Didn't he have
Yeah.
to
Pretty sure I lost to Mafia and Pedro.
Yeah.
Two people who are capable of beating me, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm like something weird.
Alright.
Damn, Steve.
On that note, let's move into the shoutouts. Does anyone have any? I'm sure the people who went to Pound have all sorts of people that they want to shout out.
I want to say shoutouts to New England for like rallying behind Jason, because I think like it's always good to see that at nationals, regardless of any rivalries that we might have with each other, or like whatever. I don't know. I think New England can be a little bit cliquey at times, but like everybody backed them up, pretty much. I mean, I didn't, but it's because, like I don't really like get caught up in other people's achievements ever, so that's like just me. But it's not that I don't support you as a player. Like I think what you did is amazing, and like you know, just good stuff. I don't know what else I would say.
So shout outs to everyone in New England except Zoso.
Yeah,
Fuck you, Zoe.
shout outs to everyone.
I heard Zoso's like just a dirtbag player who'll grime anyone in his region. Is that true? Is that true, David?
After my experiences with him at Hog.
Quote
Yeah.
PJ Rosito, Zoso was super influential in my decision to quit Melee, and
I actually back up PJ on that decision. I believe that is a good decision for PJ to make, realistically.
On a similar note, I'd like to shout out the audience in particular at New England Melee that all showed up on camera for looking. That one BVB GIF is going to be. It's amazing if you haven't seen it yet.
BVB getting hype, right?
Yeah, BVB going hype. He went in. I can't imagine. I heard his voice afterwards. I'm sure it was like completely shot.
He was hoarse, yeah.
I'd also like to shout out the Make Money Off Melee crew. They're actually playing the tournament right now. So as soon as the stream finishes, you can go on over there and watch. I think Grand Finals is about to happen.
Yeah, Crunch got 3-0'd by Mafia like the gods have been asking.
Thank God, dude.
Thank God that didn't happen in a different direction because I'm not trying to look at a pop-off GIF in 2 hours.
And you can find Jason and Jesse at Make Money Off Melee in Amesbury every Wednesday. When does
That's
the
not-
tournament usually start out at Amesbury?
I
Starts
think it
at
starts around like 5 is when the stream usually goes live.
the venue opens at 4:30. Double starts at 5:30. Single starts at 7.
Definitely worth checking out if you're in the area. So shout out to the guys.
Yeah, or New Game Plus. We'll try and make it every now and then because Jason relies on me for a ride because he's a lazy son of a bitch. Doesn't want to get his
Can't have
license.
that.
That's true. He's sitting in my sister's room right now.
I have a few shoutouts to make for Pound. So this is gonna be kind of weird, but I played against a Sheik player at Pound who I played against a player named Just Jason in money matches.
He's very good.
Yeah, okay,
He's
that's what I was.
very good.
So it's pretty uncommon to run into a player where you're just like you plug in against them and you sort of like register. There's so much brilliance and potential in a player, like not just in terms of like how quickly they move or what kind of decisions they're doing. Like every step of the way, you're just like, wow, this guy can take this character to the next level.
So I have a story about that, or whenever
So
you're ready.
super big shout outs to him. I think he's like the next big deal on like as far as East Coast Sheiks go.
Yeah,
That's by his play.
When I went to Hog, me and Jason went to Hog actually. Hax showed up and he brought the New York crew, and I actually had to play Just Jason in bracket. And I was talking to Hax about it beforehand. I'm like, "Yo, I know you brought this guy. Like, can you tell me about him a little bit?" And he said, "That man, when he's playing on point, is one of the best players in Tri-State. When like Hax has told me, he's taking games off of me. When he is on his A game, he's one of the best players in Tri-State. He can literally tech chase anything. Like anything that can be tech chased, he'll do it to as far as he can. Like
His tech chasing was really good when I played him.
Beast.
Yeah,
It's absolutely absurd. Like he just absolutely
his
demolished.
reaction times and also like I think his ability to choose good options were just immaculate.
He's
So
literally a baby Mewtwo king.
yeah, so if that guy like honestly just like works hard and like just gets more experience under his belt, I'm sure he's gonna be an absolute monster in probably less than a year. I have a lot of hopes for him. So shout outs to Just Jason.
Another Jason top player. Let's go.
Seriously, right? The Jason Club. Yeah.
My goodness.
Wasn't there like this conspiracy theory about how like people with J's in their names were just like if you were predisposed to succeed if your name began with a J?
I don't believe that's true. Have you
There's
seen
there's
me?
Juan,
You should
there's
ask someone.
Joseph, Jason.
There's Jesse. That's not on there. Get that out of
Wait,
here.
Adam doesn't start with a J though.
That's true, yeah. There's Levin's name, but
I mean, there's Mafia James. Me. I'm a god. Just Zoso.
All right, I think that's it for
Shout
our
out to
show.
those,
Thank
though.
you so much
Hold
for
on, hold
tuning
on.
in, everyone.
Wait,
you have
numbers.
more
Do you have
shout-outs?
any shout outs to make? Numbers and Jesse.
Yo,
My only
me.
shout outs go just to everyone in New England as a whole that supported me over Pound. I made a post about that New England Melee. I just want to reiterate that. I appreciate all the love you guys gave me, and it helped.
Shouts to New Hampshire. Shouts to Jason for being a homie and sitting in my sister's room.
Shoutouts to Fly for being literally the ultimate stream monster.
Shouts to Zoso for talking over me.
Yeah, no problem, dude. What else is
No, just overall, just shoutouts to everyone from like New Hampshire for helping me and G-Town Tom really create this scene and really just do what we love to help the game that we love just grow more and more. Like definitely shoutouts to G-Town Tom. He was such a huge help and he still is to helping New Hampshire grow as a scene. As much as I give him shit for being G-Town Tom.
Maybe you should be nicer to him,
yeah.
Jesse. All these are like really nice things that you're saying right now.
Shoutouts to
Yeah.
Tian for
Yeah, Jesse, maybe you should stop being such a piece of shit all the time.
Zoso,
Jesse, I
swear
just
to God,
realized that you're what the Japanese call a tsundere.
man, you're such a fucking weeb. I literally can't over it. Like I can't handle what's going on right now. Just
Theo.
shout out to New England. Everyone's a homie. I love you guys. You guys are great. As much as I shitpost, I like chilling with you guys. You guys are cool. Cool cats. I hate Zosa though, because of prick.
Same.
Alright, I
Any
just
final
want to
shout-outs?
shout out
Who asked you, Theo?
I asked.
QPU because he said I should be number one in the New England PR
Nice.
Man.
at Pound,
You
but
so
he'd probably
hard said
say
that.
numbers should be number one now, but that means I'm number two. That's okay. Be number one later.
You can both be number one.
Okay,
Wait,
yeah,
that
that
raises
works.
a better
No,
question.
you could
So
be
when's the
zero.
PR?
Yeah. So seriously, when is the PR coming out? Because I'm trying to see
Oh,
myself.
no.
as
Wait,
15
but
for-
That doesn't matter. That takes too long to talk about. I also want to give shout outs to all the new viewers in chat who came to see this very special episode. Make sure you guys all come back every Wednesday at 9 p.m. to hear us talk about crazy cool things. You know you want to, so please come
If you
again.
guys want to listen to us talk about wobbling for an entire hour, we could probably make that
That
happen.
topic
I'll
That's why I started
I'll
watching.
stream
Is
a
now
different
banned
call,
from the
like,
cast. That was the last time. Banned forever.
Shouts to G-Town Tom for saying, I hate it when people are nice to me. I really can't stand it. Alright, piece of shit. Whatever, dude. Keep getting 17th at your local. Let's go. God.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next week. Have a good night.
Good night, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.